October 13th, 2015. A Thursday night like any other. But for Mara Ellison, it was the beginning of the end. A 28-year-old cybersecurity prodigy, she had built a reputation for solving the unsolvable. Her name was a whisper in the corridors of Silicon Valley, a legend among hackers and sleuths. But on that night, she vanished. No trace, no witnesses, just a single, cryptic message left behind. They'll find the file in the third folder. The email was sent at 2:17 a.m. No subject, just a single line. It was the last thing Mara ever wrote, and it was the first clue to a mystery that would unravel the truth behind her disappearance and the dark web of secrets she uncovered. Her apartment was a shrine to obsession. The walls were lined with monitors, the floor a mosaic of cables and data streams. She had spent years chasing a pattern, a flaw in the system that no one else could see. But what she found was bigger than she ever imagined. And now, 10 years later, the world is finally listening. The email arrived at 2:17 a.m. to her personal account, maraellison1987@gmail.com. No sender, no signature, just a cold, clinical message. They'll find the file in the third folder. Mara's colleague, Daniel Reyes, was the first to notice it. He had been working late, poring over her encrypted drive, trying to decode the final puzzle she had left for him. Her work was a masterpiece of paranoia. She had hidden a trove of data in layers of encryption, a labyrinth only she and a select few could navigate. But when she sent that email, it was as if she had thrown a grenade into the night. The recipient, a former lover-turned-business partner, was left reeling. His mind raced with possibilities. A threat? A warning? A confession? He called her. No answer. He tried her phone. No signal. He searched her apartment. No body. No signs of struggle. Just her laptop, still on. The screen frozen on the folder, labeled Project Omega. What had she found? And why had she chosen to leave it behind? The folder was buried deep in her system, protected by a password only she knew. But Daniel had spent years working with Mara, and he believed he could crack it. He needed time, he needed space, and he needed the truth before it was too late. Daniel's investigation began with the simplest of tasks, recovering the data from Mara's drive. But the deeper he dug, the more he realized she had been playing a game of cat and mouse with the world. The first layer of encryption was her usual routine. But the second layer? That was something else. It had been hidden in a script she had written years earlier, a program that erased its own trace from the network. She had left a digital fingerprint, but it was subtle, a trail that could only be followed by someone who knew her code as well as she did. As he decrypted the layers, a pattern emerged. Mara's data pointed to a conspiracy within the very corporation she had once worked for, NexaTech Industries, a company that had built its empire on data privacy, but now seemed to be burying secrets far more sinister. She had discovered something no one wanted to see, a leak in the system that could expose NexaTech's ties to a global surveillance network, a network that monitored everything. Thoughts, habits, even the smallest of digital footprints. But the deeper Daniel went, the more he felt the weight of Mara's fear. Her emails to herself were filled with questions. Did they know I was coming? How much did they know? Why did I trust them? The final layer of the drive contained a video, her last recorded message. She had been speaking to her brother Alex, who had been her closest confidant. Her voice was trembling, but her words were clear. They've been watching me for years. I didn't just find the files, I made them. And now I have to make sure they never find it. If you're listening, Daniel, don't let them win. The file is in the third folder, and it's bigger than we think.
The third folder was named the Shadow Files. Inside, Daniel found something that made his blood run cold. A list of names, all linked to NexaTech. Each one had been silenced in the past decade. Doctors, journalists, even a senator. They had been erased. their lives rewritten like a digital ghost. And at the top of the list was Mara herself. Not as a victim, but as the architect. She hadn't just discovered the conspiracy, she had created it, or so it seemed. Mara Ellison was no stranger to betrayal. She had grown up in the shadow of her father, a former NSA agent who had taught her the art of deception. But her own secrets were the ones that would haunt her. The shadow files revealed a chilling truth. Mara had been working with NexaTech all along. She had infiltrated their systems, planted evidence, and orchestrated a cover-up that would protect her family from a scandal that could have destroyed them. But why had she sent that final email? Why had she left the files in plain sight only to vanish? Daniel realized the answer in a single, horrifying moment. Mara had not disappeared, she had fled. The files were her weapon, her insurance. She had known NexaTech was closing in, and she had used her last breath to leave a message for the world. They'll find the file in the third folder. Not just a warning, a challenge, a way to force the truth into the light. But the question remained, who had found her first? The files were encrypted, but the truth was undeniable. Mara had been a mastermind, a manipulator, a survivor. And now, 10 years later, her story was about to change everything. But not everyone was ready to believe her, and not everyone wanted the truth to surface. Daniel spent the next year tracking the shadow files to their source. He followed every digital breadcrumb, every deleted log, every hidden message. But the closer he got, the more he realized the conspiracy was far more personal. Mara's father, Greg Ellison, had been the one who discovered her plan. He had been threatened, his life in the balance. But instead of stopping her, he had encouraged it. He had known about the surveillance network years before, and he had let it grow. His own family was the perfect target, smart, ambitious, and isolated enough to believe they could outsmart the system. When Daniel finally uncovered the final truth, he found a letter in Mara's apartment, tucked beneath her laptop. It was dated the day she disappeared, and it read, "I did it for you. I didn't want you to live in the shadow of my secrets. Now the world will know. But if they find me first, tell them I was never afraid, just clever." The file had been uploaded to the cloud, hidden in a server far from NexaTech's reach. It was a digital echo, a voice that would never fade. And now, with the truth finally revealed, the world was listening. But as the story spread, Daniel began to notice something strange. The files had been accessed. The server had been tampered with. And the last line of the email had been changed. They'll find the file in the fourth folder. The mystery wasn't over. It had just begun. And that, dear listeners, is how the story of Mara Ellison began. A tale of deception, survival, and the lengths one person will go to protect the truth. But what if the truth was never what it seemed?